T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All three engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and liftoff. The final liftoff of Atlantis on the shoulders of the Space Shuttle. America will continue the dream.
Program, Houston.
Landing gear down and locked.
In 2011, the Space Shuttle fleet retired forever, leaving American astronauts with absolutely no way to get to space. But NASA wasn't supposed to be grounded. Hidden in the shadows of a canceled program called Constellation sat two multi-billion-dollar heavy lifters designed to take us back to the moon, Ares 1 and Ares 5. They were marketed as the ultimate evolution of space shuttle technology. Instead, they became a logistical nightmare so structurally flawed, engineers quietly called them a disaster. Let's start with the crew launcher, Ares 1. Affectionately nicknamed the flying pencil or the stick, its design was born out of bureaucratic compromise. To save money, NASA decided to build a Frankenstein rocket. They took a single extended solid rocket booster from the Space Shuttle and bolted a liquid hydrogen upper stage directly on top of it. It sounded cheap on paper. In reality, it broke the laws of practical engineering. Solid rocket boosters don't burn smoothly. They are violent, glorified fireworks. During early simulation testing, engineers hit a catastrophic roadblock called thrust oscillation. The acoustic shockwaves inside the giant solid booster acted like a massive 12 Hz organ pipe. The vibrations were so severe they would have blinded the astronauts, fried the flight computers, and literally torn the crew's spines apart on ascent. NASA had to waste millions designing massive shock-absorbing dampening rings just to keep the rocket from shaking itself to pieces on the pad. But the physics got worse. Because Ares 1 was almost 100 meters tall but incredibly thin, it suffered from a phenomenon called stiction. Solid boosters ignite with such instantaneous explosive violence that the rocket would literally jump off the pad. If a crosswind hit the towering, top-heavy rocket at the exact moment of ignition, the top would lean over violently, meaning it was a mathematical certainty that the rocket risked smashing directly into its own umbilical launch tower before clearing the ground. By the time they flew a single test flight in 2009, the Ares 1X, the design had grown so heavy that the recovery parachutes failed, causing the first stage booster to plummet into the ocean and completely crush its own internal structure. While Ares 1 was struggling to carry humans, its giant twin brother Ares 5 was being designed to carry the heavy cargo. This was a true monster. It was designed to stand 116 meters tall and lift an unmatched 188 metric tons into orbit, completely dwarfing the legendary Saturn V. But Ares 5 was entirely dependent on Ares 1. The plan was incredibly complex. Ares 5 would launch the heavy lunar lander into orbit, and then Ares 1 would launch the astronauts. The two spacecraft would have to perfectly dock in Earth orbit before heading to the moon. But as Ares 1 fell years behind schedule and billions over budget, the math fell apart. Ares 1 had become so heavy that engineers realized it couldn't even lift the Orion capsule to space without stripping out the basic life support systems the crew needed to survive. In 2010, President Obama officially pulled the plug on the Constellation Program, canceling both Ares rockets. Billions of dollars of hardware were scrapped, but NASA didn't throw everything away. They realized that flying a crew on a single solid booster stick was a death trap, but putting those boosters on the sides of a core stage changed everything. NASA took the heavy 5-segment solid boosters designed for Ares, combined them with the massive core profile of Ares 5, and created the Space Launch System, SLS, the rocket that successfully launched the Artemis 1 mission to the moon. The Frankenstein twins died so the modern era of deep space exploration could live.